यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं मोजातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं विमानं परिशिष्टान्ते वसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दमूर्तिं स्वत्मारामं मुदितपदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वेदान्तार्थद्भासकाजिगतकेशान्तागसन्न्यासिने नानावादिनगेन्द्रसङ्घभवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने अपारसच्चित्सुखवादिराशेर्यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि राकाचन्द्रसमानकान्तिपदनानाकाधिराजस्तुता मूकानामपि कुर्वती सुरध्वनिनीकाशभग्वैभवम् श्रीकाञ्चीनगरी विहाररसिका शोकापहन्त्री सताम् एका पुण्यपरम्परा पशुपतेराकारिणी राजते योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं चन्द्रशेखरं मातामहौ मातरं च पितरं च पितामहौ मातुलं च गुरून् सर्वान् वन्देऽहं ज्ञानसिद्धये गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्द गोविन्द जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव पीताम्बरं करविराजितशङ्खचक्रकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायमतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशमनिशं हृदि भावयामि Bhattatree, as we know, is a 16th century devotee. Before him, there have been many Mahatmas, and Bhagavatam has been prevalent for thousands of years before Bhattatree. So there has been various interpretations of Bhagavatam, and Bhattatree is almost culminating all those thought processes. He's putting all of them together. It is almost as if he has his own school of thought. His anchor is well founded in Shankara's Advaita. And that is what he has studied, that is closest to his heart. But nevertheless, he borrows many other ideas from various other schools. And especially for this condensation of Bhagavata, he borrows ideas from the Bheda school of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and others in that lineage. The idea that bhakti is far greater than even mukti. That is, devotion is greater than even liberation. Is an idea in the Bhagavata itself, which has been given its philosophical shape by the Bheda school. The Bheda school sees Narayana or this Swarupa of Krishna as the highest ideal. He is beyond the Trimurtis of Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, and it is from him that everything emanates. There is a difference which they call as Bheda between the Jiva and the Paramatma, but there is no difference also which they call as Abheda. And he is still the Supreme Lord of everyone. Bhattatri is drawn to those ideas because of the beauty in devotion and the way it helps in sadhana. Though he keeps reiterating that jnana leads to liberation. But for me, for a person like me in the samsara, bhakti from the beginning to the end, that is going to keep me in good state. That is why in the previous Dashaka he also said, bhakti is so sweet that bhakti from the beginning itself, whether I have small amount of bhakti or whether I am able to do unconditional bhakti or the goal itself being bhakti, the whole path is filled with sweetness. So I love this path, is what he says. And that is why Narayaneeyam itself differs from the Bhagavatam in some places. Bhagavata at the end, it reiterates and it hits upon that it is jnana that is going to lead you to liberation. And you are one with that Supreme Brahman. There is nothing other than that Brahmavastu. But Bhattatri focuses on the more practical aspect, saying, I have to attain that, I have to attain Chitta Shuddhi. And for me being in the samsara, whether it is concentrating on the Bhagavat Rupa or loving Krishna as a form or listening to his stories and being immersed in that bliss, that itself gives me so much ananda, so much joy. Let that bhakti itself be my goal. Surely it is going to lead up to jnana, though that be, I am more than satisfied with bhakti. So he is very much stressing upon the saguna upasana. Upasana of Lord with all his kalyana gunas, with all his holy attributes. He focuses on that. And we see that, we have seen that lots over the past 6 Dashakams and before that. And here now in Dashakam 97, Bhattatri prays for supreme devotion. And he brings in an anecdote of Markandeya, which has been dealt with in the Dwadasha Skandha of Bhagavata, the 12th canto. And the story of Markandeya is unique in the sense that in Bhagavata itself, that it is not being told by Shuka to Parikshit. It is being narrated by the Suta himself to Shaunaka and other rishis. Parikshit himself has attained mukti when the Markandeya story comes in Bhagavata. And after that, the Shaunaka rishis ask a question to Suta, and that is when the Markandeya story is written. So these form the basis of Dashakam 97. We will delve into it. Traigunyad bhinna roopam bhavati bhuvane hina madhyottamam yat jnanam shraddha cha karta vasatirapi sukham karma chahara bhedaha tvat kshetra tvannishevaditu yadiha punastvat tattu sarvam Prahurnirgunyaniஷ்tham tadanu bhajanato angshu siddho bhaveyam Traigunyad bhinna roopam. So this first verse is like a condensation of the 25th adhyaya of the 11th canto of Bhagavata. People who are familiar with the Bhagavad Gita might know that the 14th chapter and the 18th chapters in Bhagavad Gita deal with the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. In the 14th chapter, Bhagavan details how these gunas are present in worldly matters itself, like food, like in doing penance, in doing sacrifice, in doing charity. So all these he details. And similarly, in the 18th chapter, he deals with people who are sattvika, a doer, an action, and whether it is happiness, all these of various kinds. It can be sattva, rajas, or tamas, or a mixture of these three. These three gunas are the products of Maya, and it is because of these three gunas and everything in Prakriti is happening. Everything in nature is like an effect of these three gunas. That is why Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter he says, Guna guneshu vartante iti mattva na sajjate. The gunas are reacting with other gunas and they form all the actions in this world. The doer, that is I, the person who thinks that I am doing, we have to understand that we are not doing anything in Prakriti. Nature by itself is doing a lot of things. You have to understand that you are the witness. And this identification that I am the doer is the cause of all sorrow. Ahankara vimudhatma karta ahamiti manyate. He thinks that he is the doer because of this ahankara that is there. That ego filled with I. Ego does not mean pride or something because you have done. It is just the doership that is there. I am the doer. That is what is called as ahankara. Tattvavid, the person who knows the truth, knows that all the gunas are the ones they are just reacting with each other. And this person is not the doer. For example, in our own body, which we think as ourself, we hardly have any control. Whatever system it is within our body, it might be the respiratory system, the digestive system, the circulatory system. So many things are happening within this body, which we have no control over. It is just happening naturally, as if under the control of something else. Even if we think that we want to change something, we cannot do it by ourselves. A doctor can do it on somebody else forcefully, but he cannot do it on himself. If you put in food within your mouth, it just goes in and something happens and we get energy. You are not intentionally doing something. The doership is not there in this body at all. Whether it is blood flowing through the veins or electric signals passing through the nerves, they all just happen naturally in nature. They work according to Prakriti. So, gunaha guneshu vartante. The three gunas just deal with themselves. It is your misidentification with the body that is causing the problem. But, oh Bhagavan, this form of yours, that deity of yours, that Archavatara of yours, is beyond these three gunas. Just as I explained in the 14th and 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the Uddhava Gita in Bhagavata, Bhagavan in the 25th Adhyaya, he talks about these three gunas in various instances. But there is one small difference. In this Adhyaya, he not only talks about Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. At the end of each verse, he also says what is beyond these three. He says there is something called as Nirguna, And in each case, whatever action it might pertain to, whatever worldly thing it might pertain to, if that is connected to me, then it becomes a path towards nirguna, becomes a path towards going beyond the three gunas. And going beyond the three gunas is that realization of the self. Traigunya bhinna rupam bhavati bhuvane hina madhyottamam yat. Hina madhya uttama. Uttama is the best. Madhyama is somewhat average. Hina is something that is to be despised with, discarded. So these three, so tamas, rajas and sattva. Sattva being the highest, rajas being somewhere in between, and tamas being something that should be discarded. These three stratifications are there in various things. In what things? Jnanam, Shraddha, Chakarta, Vasatirapi Sukham, Karma cha, Ahara Bhedaha. It is there in knowledge. These three, there is a Satvika knowledge, Rajasika knowledge, Tamasika knowledge. Similarly, faith in Shraddha, in Karta, in the doer, or in the place of residence, or in the place of happiness, or in action itself, or in various kinds of foods, etc. There are so many. In each of these things, we can have these three levels of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Because they are all constituted of these three gunas. Or whichever of these you take, they are constituted of these three gunas, and therefore they are a mixture of them. But your rupa, traigunya, bhinna rupa, your form is beyond these three. It is nirguna. Tvat kshetra tvannishevaditu yadiha punaha tvatparam tattu sarvam. Whether it is your place of residence, that is your temple, or service to you, worshipping you, or whatever we do, if it is towards you, even if it is some other worldly action, but if it is completely towards you, if it has been given unto you, prahur nairgunyanishtam, it has been given the classification of nirguna, because it is going to lead you on the path of nirguna. It is going to lead you beyond these three gunas. Prahur nairgunyanishtam tadanubhajanato mankshu siddho bhaveyam. Therefore, by taking that path, may quickly become siddha, may attain that state of perfection very soon. Praise chapter 3. Tvayevanyasta chittaha sukhamagi vicharanne sarvacheshtastvadatham tvadbhaktai sevyamana nabicharita charane ashrayan punyadesha dasyo vipre mrigadishvapicha samamatihi मुच्यमाना वमान स्पर्धा सूयादि दोषः सततमखिल भूतेषु सम्पूजयेत्वा त्वय्येव न्यस्तचित्तः. Let me always have my mind in you. Sukhamagi vicharanne. Just roaming around happily. Sarvacheshtaha tvadartham. And all my actions always being devoted towards you. Any action it might be, the background, the foundation should be you. Oh Krishna, I should always be thinking of you. Tvadbhakti sevyamana nabi. So, whatever your devotees, let me always be along with your devotees, and whatever they are doing, let me also do the same things, the same actions that they do. Or I have the examples of your devotees. For Bhattatri, so there have been so many devotees. Whichever marga they took, whichever path they have trodden, let me also tread the same path. So there's a saying in Sanskrita, Mahajano yena gatas sapanthaha. Those who chart a path are very few in number. It is very easy to follow the same path. Instead of charting your own path, which is filled with thorns and so many other difficulties, you go behind a Mahatma, the path is already made for you. And whoever your devotees are there, let me walk behind them and let me go to those places of pilgrimage, those punya deshas, Dasyo vipre vrigadishvapi cha samamatihi. Whether it be a thief or a robber, or it be a greatly learned brahmana, or it be some animals, let me have an equal vision towards all of them. How can I have an equal vision towards all of these? By seeing that inside all of them, the same Paramatma exists. Muchya mana avamana spardha asuyadi dosha. So the same kind of idea comes in Bhagavad Gita also. In the world, while doing vyavahara and transaction, there is always difference. I myself find myself different from those around me. I am different, they are different. And a dog is different from a cow, which is different from a human being. But the idea is to see the same in everybody is what he is saying. How can I see the same thing everywhere? The Atma is same. It is the same Lord, same Krishna, same Paramatma, same Mahavishnu present in each of their beings. That is the idea that has to be cultivated. If we have devotion towards Bhagavan, the same amount of devotion, respect should be shown towards every being. When that starts happening, naturally that samamati will start coming everywhere. It is a positive kind of reinforcement that everything is Bhagavan. Whenever I interact with another person, if I start seeing Bhagavan in them, the way I speak to them, the way I deal with them becomes very different. You are dealing with God Himself. Then your dealing is so deep. The amount of adara that you have in that place, it changes the situation. When you deal with a dog that might be in the street, if you want to offer it some food, offer it like the way you would give Naivedya to Bhagavan. If you take care of a cow, take care of it like you take care of Bhagavan. So like that we have seen in the stories of Mahatmas how they saw this in every being. That samamati has to be cultivated. That is by seeing the Lord everywhere. And when that samamati comes, whether it is respect or insult, all that goes away. If somebody respects you, Bhagavan himself is respecting you. That the Bhagavan in that form is respecting the Bhagavan in this form. If it is an insult, the Bhagavan in that form is insulting. So if you yourself get angry on yourself or praise yourself, you are not going to hold negative feelings or positive feelings later. It just happened. For whatever reason, you might scold yourself or praise yourself, pat yourself on the back, or slap yourself on the cheek. Both are not going to remain. Similarly, even if somebody else does it towards you, if it is the same Bhagavan doing that, it is the same person. So there should be no higher or lower or any negative emotion that persists after that. So muchyamana, avamana, spardha, asuyadi doshaha, or competition against somebody else. The spardha competition comes because we see difference. Oh, that person has gone ahead of me. He is in such a position of power or authority or has so much wealth. Because I have a sense of competition. And then I feel jealous towards those who are ahead of me. Or I might feel pity towards those who are not as good as myself. All this is because of spardha and asuya. And everywhere there is Bhagavan. There is no space for spardha or asuya. Satadam akhila bhuteshu sampujayetva. So in all akhila bhuta, in every creature, let me worship you. Every creature becomes worshipful, becomes a murti of Bhagavan. Tadbhavo yavadeshu spurati na vishadam tavadevam hyupastim kurvan naikatmya bodhe chaditi vikasati tadmayoham chareyam tadharmasyasya tavat kimapi na bhagavan prastudasya pranashaha tasmat sarvatmaneva pradishamama vibho bhaktimargam manonyam. Bhattatri says, I will worship and do meditation like however I said in these previous verses. By seeing your form in every being, until that does not become clearly ingrained in me. It should become natural to me to see Bhagavan everywhere. Till that does not become, I will continue worshipping you and meditating upon you. When that happens, when that gets ingrained in me, when this becomes clearly ingrained, Tvanmayoham chareyam. I will become one with you and I will just roam about. I will become Tvanmayaha. There will be no difference. Tvanmayoham chareyam. Tvadharmasyasya tavat. So when this knowledge that there is the same Atman in every being, that dawns upon me, that time it becomes one with you. And that time the practice of Bhagavata Dharma has begun. So this Bhagavata Dharma is explained in the 29th Adhyaya of Ekadasha Skandha, the 11th canto. That is the final Upadesha that Bhagavan is giving to Uddhava to stay in this Bhagavata Dharma. Prastutasya pranashaha tasmat sarvatmanaiva pradishamabho bhakti margam manonyam. So whatever I have begun in this practice of bhakti towards you, that will not be destroyed. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, whatever a yogi, a person on this bhakti marga has done of devotion towards me, even if he leaves this body and he has not attained the goal, he will again be born in a body that is conducive to continue the same sadhana. He will be born in such a situation, in such a family, where it is conducive to continue that same kind of sadhana. So it is never lost. Whatever bhakti we perform towards Bhagavan can never be lost. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayate. Even a small amount of this dharma is going to protect you from the greatest of calamities. Tvadharmasya asya tavat kimapi na bhagavan prastutasya pranashaha. The small amount of bhakti that I have begun now, says Bhattapada, will never get lost. But what you do is let me become completely surrendered to you. Sarvatmanaiva pradishamabho. Therefore, give me this bhakti marga in fullness. Just give it to me in fullness. Let me be there on this captivating path of devotion. Tam chainam bhakti yogam dradhayitu mayi sadhyam arogyamayoho dishtya tatra visetyam tava charanamaho bheshaya bheshaja eva dukkam. For the sake of this devotion, I need a good health and a long life. That is necessary. Even in many other Mahatmas have had the same prarthana. Shivabhirama Narasimha Bharati of the Sringeri lineage of Shankaracharyas, he prays to Sharadamba. He says, Karmasu Atmochiteshu Sthiratara Dishanam Dehagardhyam Tadartham Dirghancha Ayur Yashascha Tribhavana Viditam Papamarga Viraktim. So give me a long life and devotion towards elders in you, and health, because I need to perform these karmas that are given in the Vaidika Marga. Let me have that devotion towards you. To have the devotion, I should have good health and long life. And to get that good health and long life also, what is necessary is devotion towards you only. This is like Bhattapada gives an example. Like a person who is with a lot of disease, if he is given milk as the medicine to be taken, he likes milk. Milk is not something difficult to swallow for him. He is not being given some bitter kashaya. If he can drink milk and get out of the disease, that is great. Similarly, to have a healthy and long life, I should do devotion to you. And to get that extreme good devotion also, I should do devotion to you. This is like just drinking milk again and again. So this worship itself is very pleasant. and you have given such a beautiful path towards that. Dishtya tatrapi sevyam tava charanamaho bheshajayeva dugdham. And now he begins with Markandeya's story as an anecdote. Markandeyo hi purvam ganaka nigadita dvadashabda yuruchaihi sevitva vatsaram tvam tava bhatanivaihi dhyavayamasa vrityum. This story is also not directly there in Bhagavata. Markandeya's story is there, but the anecdote that Bhattatri is saying here is lifted from Markandeya Purana. So Markandeya was given only 12 years as his age. He would live only up to the age of 12. That was Ganaka Nivahaihi, Ganaka Nigadita. Ganaka means astrologers, and those had said that he would live only for 12 years. So Markandeya worshipped you for one whole year, Sevitva Vatsaram Tvam. And when that Mrityu happened to come, your attendants, Tava Bhata Nivahaihi, Dhavayamasa Mrityu. He chased away Mrityu, he chased death away with the help of thy attendants, with the help of your attendants. He chased away Mrityu because of intensely worshipping you. Markandeya Chirayuhu, and hence he became a long-lived person. And when he chased away Mrityu, he continued worshipping you. Because it was so pleasant for him, he did not want to come out of that. He stayed always in worshipping you and meditating upon you. Sakhalu gunara bitvatpara pushpabhadra dire ninye tapasyamne atula sukharatihi shattu manmantarani. So for 6 manmantaras, he continued worshipping Bhagavan. I do not know whether we have seen this calculation of manmantara previously. So in one day of Brahma, in 12 hours of Brahma, there are 1000 Chaturyugas. It is 1000 into 4 yugas. The Krita, Treta, Dwapara and Kali together are called as Chaturyuga. 1000 such Chaturyugas make up one day of Brahma. Those 1000 Chaturyugas are split into 14 Manmantaras. So each Manmantara would have about 73 Chaturyugas or so. Each Manmantara is presided over by one Manu. And in each of these Manmantara, the Devatas will change. That is Indra, Vayu, Yama, and all these are positions. A different person will take up that position, that portfolio, in each Manmantara. So in one single day of Brahma, you would have had 14 Manus, would have had 14 Indras, 14 Yamas, and so on. That is how it goes on. Markandeya, once he had won over this Mrityu, he did tapas for 6 Manmantaras. Shattu Manmantarani. So beginning with the first Manu, who was Swayambhuva Manu. Then came after Swayambhuva came Swarogisha. Then Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata and Chakshusha. 6 Manmantaras had passed. The 7th Manmantara, the Devendra of that Manmantara, the Indra of that Manmantara became jealous of this Markandeya. He is living for so long, he is not being distracted by anything else. Devendra Saptamastam Surayuvati Marummanmathair Mohayishyane. So he sent a lot of Apsaras along with Manmatha and a nice breeze and Vasantaritu and everybody to distract Markandeya from his devotion. Yogoshma Prushyamanihi Natu Punarashakate Tvajanam Nirjayetkaha. All of them who approached Markandeya, they could not bear the heat of yoga of Markandeya. Yogoshma Prushyamanihi. They were just scorched by the heat of yoga and they all returned. Bhattapada asks, who can win over your devotees? Tvajanam kaha nirjayet. Nobody can win over, nobody can overcome your devotees. Pritya Narayanakhyaham Tvamatha Narasakha Praptavanasya Parshvam Tushtya Doshturyamanaha Satu Vividhavarihi Lobhito Nanumene. Markandeya was doing this penance on the banks of a nadi called as Pushpabhadra, which is in the Himalayas, close to Badari Kshetra somewhere. So Narayana and Nara, who are there in Badari Kshetra, they came in front of Markandeya to give him darshana. Narayanakyaha Narasakha. You appeared in front of Markandeya. Markandeya praised you. Dushtya doshtu yamanaha. And even though you wanted to give him various boons, Markandeya was not least interested in those boons. And he was more than satisfied with devotion towards you. Narayaneeyam. But he had one small desire. Because Markandeya, when he was 12 itself, he had completely given himself in devotion to Bhagavan. So he was never affected by these ups and downs of Maya. He never knew what Maya was. People talked about Maya. They talked about sorrows and highs and lows of life and how they are being tortured by samsara. Markandeya never knew these things. He was immersed in devotion towards you. So he wanted to have this taste of Maya. Drashtum mayam tadiyam kila punaravranote bhakti triptam taratma. Even though filled with devotion, satisfied with devotion, he wanted to have a taste of Maya. Maya dukkha anabhinyaha. Yes, he had no taste of this dukkha that is being given by Maya. Abhimrigayate, tadabhimrigayate, nunamascharya hetoho. Even a person who is not known to Maya, even he wants to know Maya. Oh, what great Ascharya, what great surprise is this? Says Bhattat. Yade tvaya shubhata kulajaladagalat toya purnati bhurnat saptarno rashimagne jagati satujale sabhraman varshakotihi dina prikshishta dure vatadala shayanam kanchit ascharyabalam tvame vashyamalankam padana sarasijan nyastapadankulikam. Once Narayana and Nara had disappeared, they disappeared from in front of him. And the world became submerged in the ocean. All the 7 oceans, it was Pralaya at the time. All the 7 oceans came up like tsunamis and everything started overflowing with rain. The Samvartaka clouds, which are those clouds that are during Pralaya, all of them came and started pouring rain everywhere. Waters from the clouds and the oceans, and they were just tossed about in the wind. Markandeya, in that water of Pralaya, he was tossed about from here and there for millions of years. So long went on and on and on. Markandeya did not know what to do. He cannot see anything other than him. He is just being tossed about in the waters of Pralaya, and he was extremely exhausted. Varsha Kotihi Sambhramatna, Dean of Prakshishta Dure, totally exhausted. In a far end, he saw Kanchit Ascharyabalam, very wonderful kid, a wonder kid, a surprising drishya he saw in front of him. What did he see? Tvame Vashyamalankam. Oh Krishna, he saw you, oh Guruvayurappa. He saw you in that dark complexion. Vadana Sarasijanyasta Padankulikam. And you were keeping your toe in your own mouth, and as a small kid, which was on the leaf of vata, on that banyan leaf, lying down, he saw you. How did he see you? Kararavindena mukharavindam. Kararavindena padaravindam. Mukharavinde viniveshayantam. Vatasya patrasya puteshayanam. Padam mukundam manasa smarami. Says Leela Krishna Karnamrita. Kararavindena padaravindam. In that lotus-like hands, you caught hold of your lotus-like feet and you kept it in your lotus-like mouth. Viniveshayantam. And just lying down on that Vatapatra, that kind of Bala Mukunda, I just think about in my mind, says Leela Krishna Karnamrita. And that is the deity that is seen by Markandeya. Only Markandeya has seen it with his own eyes. And that is the Upasya Murti that many others have taken. That small young Krishna lying on the banyan leaf, now it is very famous. We see many, many paintings. That is the darshana for Markandeya. Vadana Sarasijan Nyasta Padambulikam. So Mahatma say that Bhagavan Krishna, why was he keeping his own feet in his mouth? During the creation, all the yogis, they are all meditating upon that feet. And they say that is the most sweet of all the feet. So Bhagavan, during the pralaya when no one is there, he is taking his own feet and he's seeing and tasting it. Oh, what is that so sweet in this feet? Is what the Kavis imagine. Drishtva tvam drishtaro tvanidam upagataha sprashtukamo munindraha shvasen antarnivishtaha punariha sakalam drishtava vishtamukham. Seeing this beautiful kid in that waters of Pralaya, Markandeya tries to go swim towards him, and somehow he goes and reaches close to that kid, towards that Krishna and that Padapatra. He wants to touch that kid, but suddenly through the wind, he is just the wind just takes him inside the nose of Bhagavan. Shvasena antarnivishta, just like breathing in. He is breathed into Bhagavan, into that young kid who is Bhagavan over there. And as soon as he is breathed into that body and that breath, there he sees all the worlds. Vishtapautham, the whole universe is visible there. And suddenly he is pushed out by that breath. Bhuyo vishvasavatihi bahiranupatitaha dikshitas tvatkatakshihi modad ashreshtukamaha vaibhitataru swashrame pragvadasit. When he was pushed out by that breath, the sidelong glances of Bhagavan fell upon him. Bhagavan is seeing him when he falls outside. And with the great joy and that devotion towards Bhagavan, he wants to embrace Bhagavan tightly. He goes towards that kid, that small Balam Mukunda. He wants to embrace that Bhagavan. And suddenly Bhagavan just disappears. And Markandeya is sitting there in meditative posture on the banks of Pushpabhadra Nadi, just sitting there. Nothing is there. No water, no pralaya, no Bhagavan, nothing. He is just sitting there in that same position which he left just a moment ago. In a moment, it felt like millions of years being tossed about here and there. And this was the boon that he asked of Narayana, that he wanted to see Maya. This is the Maya that Bhagavan showed him. And Markandeya understood that. And he sat there in all satisfaction. And to see him, Gauri along with Parameshwara appear there. Gaurya sartham tadagre Purabhidathagataha Tvatpriya Prekshanarthi Siddhane Vasya Dattva Swayamaya Mrityudadi Dato Bhute. Shiva is the greatest of devotees of Mahavishnu. Vaishnavana Maham Shambhu, says Bhagavan in the Uddhava Gita. Among the Vaishnavas, I am Shambhu, I am Shiva. So Shiva wants to meet another devotee. He wants to go and meet this devotee Markandeya. So he goes there along with Gauri. And going there, Goddess Parvati, without Markandeya asking for any boon, she gives him the boon of freedom from old age, freedom from death, and many other things. So devotees are meeting with devotees. Evam sevagaiva smararipur sapriyate yena tasmat. Like this, even Smararipu is the enemy of Manmatha, who is Bhagavan Shiva. Even he becomes happy because of devotion towards you, Guvairappa. Tasmate murti trayatmakastvam nanu sakalaniyante subhyaktamasite. So it is very clear that you yourself are Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, and you are the inner controller of all. Bhagavad Gita again, Bhagavan says, I am the inner controller of all, and I control it like a machine. Just like yantrani arudhaham. Just like a machine keeps running with itself, I am running everything from inside. So you are the inner controller, of all Suvyaktamasi. It became very clear because of this. Triyamshesmin Satyaloke Vidhi Haripura Bhin Mandiran Urdhvamodhvam. This concept has come previously in the 90th Dashaka also, that Satyaloka has three parts. In that three-parted Satyaloka, Vidhi Hari Purabhit. First part is for Brahma, the next upper part is for Vishnu, and beyond that is for Paramashiva. Mandirani Urdhvam Urdhvam, one above the other. Tebhyo Urdhvam Dumaya Vigriti Virahito Bhati Vaikuntha Lokaha. Beyond all these three parts is that Vaikuntha Loka of yours, where you are there as Sachidananda Swarupa. Tatratvam Karanam Bhasyavi Pashubagule Shuddha Sattvi. There in that Karanam, in that water of those causal waters, you are just resident there. Or you can call it even as Gokula, he says. Pashubagule, how are you? Shuddha Sattvi Karupi, pure Sattva. So you are connecting the first Dashaka with the final Dashaka. There also he was called as Shuddha Sattvaika Rupi. Sattvam yatta parabhyam aparikalanataha nirmanam tena tavatu. So that Shuddha Sattvaika Rupi, in what form? Satchit Brahma Advayatma, as Satchidananda Swarupa, as non-different from anything else. You are in that Goloka. Brahma Advayatma Pavana Purabate Pahimam Sarvarogat. Oh, Guruvayurappa, who is living in that Goloka Vaikuntha, deign to eradicate all these ailments of mind. This is where we see Bhattatri bringing that Bheda school and the Advaita school together. The Bheda school has this concept of Goloka Vaikuntha, where Bhagavan exists there as Sachidananda Swarupi, and he is in this immense radiance there. That Bhagavan is there as Advayatma, he says, as that Advaita Rupa, as non-different from anything else. He is non-different. He is there as consciousness, existence, bliss. He is there. That Pavana Purapati, that brick of consciousness, that dense consciousness which is present in front of me here in Guruvayur. Oh, eradicate all my ailments so that I can be completely devoted to you. Praise Bhattatri to Guruvayurappan, and ends the 97th Dashaka. The 98th Dashaka is a Namaskara Dashaka, which we will see in the next week's discourse. Today, in the beginning of the class, there was because of some technical issue, we could not start the class on time. Apologies for that. We will continue in the next week. In probably 3 weeks, we will be completing these discourses. Gopika Jeevanasmaranam Govinda Govinda Janaki Kanta Smaranam Jaya Jaya Rama Rama Hara Namah Parvati Patake Hara Hara Mahadeva Sadguru Swaminaha Jai Yato Mahatma Bhadasit Tumeva Tato Navachim Mama Jivasti